everybody. Welcome to the Heed Army podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you. Before we go any further, massive thank you to our sponsors, Northern Print Solutions and Hope and Glory. I will be putting them on either side of the screen going further forward, and I'll point to the wrong ones, guarantee you. But it is a great day for, let's say, football. It's back. It was yesterday. We had the win at Hebburn. Lots to talk about. The FIFA ban has been lifted. The fixtures were out today. Who's the teams you want to go and see? Or if you've already planned your away days, let us know. There's also ins and outs at the club. We were talking about that. There's a pro contract being handed out for the first time to a player. There's also, as well, the night at the Fog on the Tyne. We've got Doncaster and Sunderland to look forward to next week. So this show is all lined up. And we just want to say a big thank you to everyone. Hit that subscribe button. It really does help. And it just believes me to bring in the boys. And also we're joined by, let's say, the unofficial member of the Heed Army podcast, but Mark Curvers is with us as well.
Good evening.
How do?
A lot of places to start. Of course, the excitement of having football back yesterday, boys. Fixtures out today, but a massive talking point. And it was a talking point last week at the talking that Mark hosted at the Legion Club in Gateshead. Fantastic turnout there. I did have a photo, but it hasn't come up on the screen, unfortunately. But the big talking point was the FIFA ban, Mark. You broke the story when you seen it on the FIFA website that it looked like it had been lifted on Monday night. Then it was officially confirmed on Tuesday morning. Massive thing, and a lot of work that went in behind the scenes to get that done, Mark.
Yeah, and I know it feels like it's been rumbling on for a while, but in terms of, and I mean this with all due respect, with a club the size of Gateshead dealing with FIFA, it isn't going to get done quickly. Now, I would imagine if it was a club at the top end of the game, it would have been done within about 48 hours. But sadly, there is a bit of a pecking order here. But I think what I will say is great credit to, to the likes of Bernard and people high up at the club for getting this sorted in reasonably quick time, certainly for getting it done ahead of pre-season. Because this could have, make no bones about it, it could have rumbled on into the season, which wouldn't have done anyone any favours because none of the new signings, either the ones made or the ones that will be made over the coming weeks, would have been able to be registered to feature in the National League. So I think there has to be a degree of credit, a lot of credit given out, to those high up at the club. It's an issue that has been hanging over the club, but it's done and dusted now, and they can all look forward to what lies ahead now.
We can all understand what the worry was. I mean, Mickey, I know you speak to a lot of fans that I don't know, and vice versa. There was a lot of angst and unrest at the FIFA ban, but we've got it lifted. It couldn't have been lifted at a better time, ready for pre-season as it starts. How's the feeling around the other side? Because we weren't all at the game together. We're all different parts, apart from Steely, who wasn't able to be there. What was the feeling on your side of the ground?
Well, when we went out, I was out about 4 o'clock, 4:30. We went for something to Strand before we went and met up with a few lads. And obviously the FIFA ban being lifted was like a big weight off everyone's shoulders for the start. I still think there's a lot of naysayers at the club and are not convinced by what's going on, but you're going to get that anywhere. They're entitled to their opinion, but everyone deserves a chance, in my opinion. And I think some of it's been a bit over the top.
Everyone wanted clarity and an open book as much as the club can be. And since, Bernard and people he's got around him have took over, there have been, as soon as they found out about the FIFA ban, it was out there. I think it's an open secret that there's other clubs in the league never told their fans they were under a FIFA ban and still said they had signed players. So the club was, forthright and come out straight away with all, I'm trying to think the transparent. They were transparent from the start, and they were still getting pelters. So, they're damned if they do and damned if they don't a little bit. But of course, bridges have to be built. It's not a case of, hey, let's pat everyone on the back. There has been mistakes, so you can understand why people are a little bit on edge. But that said, if you were at the talking, but if you weren't, Bernard was asked a question, and Mark relayed it via the audience from the pieces of paper on the table, asking what's going on with the FIFA ban, and he told everyone about dealing with FIFA that it's not just a case of sending an email and they're in the office at the same time. It's Switzerland, but they're based in America. All the different time zones, people working in different offices. and it is just little Gateshead, and they would be like, let's just put that there for now. We'll deal with this transfer from Bayern Munich to Real Madrid as the priority. So, look, it's not done. We'll not be the first team to do it. We'll not be the last team. I mean, it was about compensation. I don't know if anyone's seen today that Joe Gray, the Hartlepool player, it's already been decided if he signs for another football club, because he's been offered a contract by Hartlepool, I think it's in the region of £300,000. Someone's going to have to pay in compensation if they assign him on a free. So this is how football works at the moment. So it's crazy stuff. Clubs are entitled to the compensation, but non-league clubs, it's ridiculous how you're supposed to manage with all of that. But that sorry, Steely.
No, I was just going to say, can we just sort of start drawing a line in the sand now? There was a lot of negativity, and as you said, a lot of mistakes. A lot of upheaval at the end of last season. But now, with positivity last night, with the ban's been lifted, we're making signings, got a new manager. I think we're going to move on. I think, we've been here before. We've been down in the dumps. We've got to turn the corner now. Look forward to a new season, really.
Yeah, we've got a message here from Johnny Grace, but I'm a pessimist. I'm disappointed after Kenton's stirring words at the talking. FIFA ban lifted, surprising signings, which we'll get into soon, and a decent showing at Hebburn. Where's the doom and gloom we know and love? Yeah, everyone's got to spring on the step today, and people's shirts were delivered today as well. We'll get into that later on, but there's there we go. There's someone there with theirs on. I think, is that Hebby, your friend?
Hebby,
to me, so I hope he doesn't mind. We'll put them. He's got lovely toes, by the way, and a nice back passage. But everyone's got the stuff. But let's talk about other things. Surprise signings there, like Johnny Gray mentioned. I was over the moon when Callum Johnson was announced. It was a surprise one. Yes, he had some injury troubles last year, but which players don't? It happens from time to time. But the caliber of the man, he's played, nearly 100 games for Portsmouth, over 50 for
Stanley, I think it was it?
Stanley. He's played in Scotland, played in the league, so he comes with a lot of experience. And if we can utilize that, that's a fantastic sign. And the same with David Ferguson. Played so many games over the last few years. Promotion winner, but as is Callum Johnson. And then the surprise one of all, yesterday, the player that came in, said hello and went out, is Pete Jameson. Of course, he got on the pitch as well last night, pulled off a great save. But in addition to the coaching staff, and probably more along the lines of what Allan Armstrong was talking about at the talking on last Thursday night, about having to balance the books and be creative with how they get their coaches in and things like that. So we've got a coach coming in who's probably having some of his wages covered by Dalton for the playing side. We're paying the coaching side, and everyone wins on that situation. So to have things like that happen is, especially with the ban just being lifted, because I know a lot of people are saying when there's a FIFA ban, you can't play players and stuff like that. Look, it's all out in the open. It's all went past, and we're in the home straight, as it were, that way. And to see them players coming out, and those trialists yesterday, we'll not mention who they are if anyone knows their names, because we'll play it properly. But a rousing couple of days, really, on the transfer front.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Allan last week, spoke to him after the talking, and spoke to him after the game last night, and it's very much an ongoing process. We're bringing in players, and at some point that there may well be a case of someone will have to go out before more come in. I'm not saying that's now, but that may well be the point, because there has to be a balancing of the books. The club isn't the richest in the league by any stretch, so that may well happen. But if one player goes out for decent money and three come in who improve the squad, it's called player trading. It happens at the top end of the game. It's something. There's a certain club just across the water from Gateshead that hasn't really traded well in recent years and are suffering to a degree at the moment. Newcastle at some point in the future will have to sell a big player, I think, anyway, to bring in more to improve them as a whole. It's what big clubs do. It happens at every club unless you're a Real Madrid or someone like that. So, that's something I think. The one thing I think that should come out of pre-season is that it's all focused about day one, and going to Hebburn, who are a very good side, by the way, and have done very well to get to where they are in the league, and great hosts and all that. But going to Hebburn and winning isn't going to make a season. No. It isn't going to make everything great. But by the same token, and this is my big message I would say to people, if it gets to Saturday and Sunderland go to the stadium and pull off a 4-0 win against Gateshead, that doesn't mean everything's down the dumps and the season's going to be a disaster. You've just got to think, and the more I've worked in the media and dealt with managers day in, day out, the more you get the message in pre-season, results don't really matter. They really don't. It's about making sure that tactically and fitness-wise, you are bang on and ready for day one. And I think that's why I really do hope that no matter what happens between now and day one of the season and pre-season, there isn't too much of an overreaction in a negative or positive sense, just keeping it balanced.
I mean, I've got some footage there I got yesterday. I'll put it up in the background as we're talking. I thought that we can't read too much into the the result yesterday at Hebburn. Lovely afternoon, seeing how the loudest put the drone up there, so we've got a bit of shots of the team warming up. I didn't crash it, everybody. I didn't crash it, but no, I mean, look, Allan at the talking and in his first interview, he said about getting the club back to its ethos, so to speak, get its identity back. Yeah. And I know one swallow doesn't make a summer. We can go through all these little phrases, but yesterday we did see a team that looked more united than what was at the back end of last season. There was players playing for each other. The communication, obviously, at these smaller grounds, you're on top of them, you can hear them. They were playing, with a purpose. They will want to build on that. They'll want to, cement what they're doing, and it was a nice mix of young lads in there in the first half. Of course, it was a stronger team in the first half, but we seen players like Ollie Thompson play well, and look, it was a robust game against Hebburn. There was a few late tackles. You could see maybe mistimed pre-season rustiness, but the players got up and dusted themselves down with a different type of attitude to maybe what we would have had last year. I know you might say I'm looking into it a little bit more, but did you see that? Did you see a difference in the way the players held themselves yesterday?
I think
we
saw that before last night, though, didn't we? When you listened to what Kenton said at the talking, where he was talking about the first day of pre-season training, going in there, and everything felt new and everything felt positive, and I think that spoke volumes. Just blank the screen quickly because that's a try list. But
now he's disappearing.
It's one of them, I think, where everything I'm getting from the club at every level is positive, and that's not me saying everything's great and everything's going to be brilliant and they're going to romp the league and get promoted. I'm just saying that there are foundations being put in place. That there's still a lot to do at every level of the club. And Allan said in a piece, well, I don't think it's gone out yet, but in a piece I did with him last night, that sometimes it will be a case of there'll be a step forward and two taken back. And that may well happen this week. The step forward came last night. The 2 steps back may come with a
hadn't muted that clip. Sorry.
Did you deliberately play that when Mark was giving us some bad news there? Was he?
But my point being that the 1 step forward, 2 back may well be this week in terms of a good performance against Hebburn and a positive, followed by what might well be a performance that's a little bit more difficult against Sunderland. Now, what I will say, and I've seen this online, and I try not to react online. There's people talking about Sunderland are sending a 21 site to Gateshead and a full site to South Shields, which is just nonsense. I'm sorry, but it's nonsense. It'll be a mixture, the same as it has been the last 2 years. I went back and looked at the Sunderland team that walked out at Gateshead last year, and there were 7 regulars in the team that's just been promoted to the Premier League.
And a £38 million player as well now.
The other 4 were lads that have played regularly for Sunderland throughout the years, but moved on through the season. Then they brought the academy kids on second half, but they've done exactly the same at Sunderland. At South Shields 2 hours earlier. So, it's just it is going to be a tough game because look, there's a lot of I saw help with coverage of Sunderland now. There's a lot of positivity there, and it's only the promotions built momentum, the new signings have built momentum. Saturday for Gateshead will be about taking the next step from Hebburn and possibly playing. Well, I say possibly, definitely playing without as much possession as they did last night. It'll be about it'll be about working on that defensive shape. It'll be about can we be organised off the ball and keeping Sunderland at bay. And that's
you need those games as well, though, don't you? You need those games. You can't just go out whitewashing people and then you come up against a strong side. But I mean, just a few players to give a special notice to last night. Tim McAnola looked phenomenal. His work rate off the ball, I think he must have made about 4 or 5 tackles where he won the ball back, like on the blind side of the player. They were not expecting him to be back there and taking the ball back. His vision was good. Kenton Richardson gave a captain's performance, scoring a good header across goal.
Adam, did he play well?
Adam looked good. He looked better in more of an attacking winger position than an attacking wing back that we've seen a lot of them in previous seasons. Also, as well, I thought Connor Panny, because obviously we've seen him from being a very young boy coming from the academy set up into the first team.
Big season for him, Davey. Big season for him.
He's really filled out. He's a man mountain, and he knows how to use his body now. You can see the way he was holding the ball off. He's communicating, and I'm hoping we see more of Connor Panny this season because that's what you want. You want Allan suggested to, these players can come through and can get into the first team.
Can I just ask Mark a question? Mark, have you worked with Allan before? Like, when he went Blythe, was he the manager at the time? So what's he like? Is he, as a man, as a manager?
I mean, I was working in the media when it wasn't at Blythe then, but I covered them, and same with Darlington, to be fair. And do you know what? The thing you'll get with Allan is absolute honesty in terms of a performance. He won't try and pull the wool over anyone's eyes. If Gateshead had played poorly in a game this season, he will say it. If they played well this season, he'll say that as well. The reaction to Allan being appointed, I did get it. I've got to be honest, because it sounds daft, but I think people maybe expected a bigger name. And obviously, I put the line out about that. There was going to be people with EFL experience who were interviewed. I think it's common knowledge who some of those were, or one of those at least. But I look at Allan, right, and you say, this is a guy that played in the Premier League. He scored home and away in a UEFA Cup tie against Inter Milan. He's managed in the sort of Northeast non-league scene. He's worked in the academy system, so the contacts have been built up. I know for a fact he's got good relationships with agents. He's got good relationships within the academies in the local area and beyond. And he's got a history of developing players for them to move on and make money from them. I mean, you look at Darlington, the likes of your Luke Charmans and Mark Beck obviously went in there and then moved on. So, look, Allan knows he's got a lot to prove and he's got a lot of doubt as to silence, if that's how you want to put it. But I just think it's a case of giving him a chance. And I think so far in the first, I realise it's only one game, but in terms of how he's dealt with the media, in terms of myself, with the internal media, with Jack and such like, and the local media in terms of TV and radio, I think he's been pretty faultless so far. He's been honest. And I think it's just a case of that's the way it'll go forward. I spoke to him a little bit about his relationship with Bernard, because at the moment, for where the club is at, that is the biggest relationship in the club internally. And he said, look, we're brutally honest with each other. And sometimes there will be difficult conversations that'll be had. But it's all with the view of making Gateshead a progressive club and recovering from what has been a pretty harmful 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
As I say, he's very approachable. I think there's lots of people found out at the talking, and he's obviously he's polite, but he's got his Geordie accent still, even though he's played all over the country and stuff, and he's very, very approachable, and he's honest. And I think that's what I've warmed to, the honesty, that he doesn't hide from any of the questions, because there's no point in really doing that. But yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic. We've got some messages that have come in. We've got Steve Farnfield has put, has Booty went to Hartlepool and AC returned as part of the deal? I haven't seen anything like that online, so I haven't heard that rumour.
I don't think Gateshead need any aircon.
No, I don't think. I think that's sweltering in here.
Inside the stadium, so
I thought Kent spoke very well at the talk-in and shedded some light on what was the last 6 months was like in the dressing room, and spoke very positively about the future top captain material. Well, I mean, that's something else we've got to talk to, because obviously this is the first one back, but there he is, Kenton Richardson. A lot of rumours around the summer linking Kenton with a move away, probably more on the text threads and Twitter, people putting that out there without any real evidence. But of course, a top player, you wouldn't be surprised if he was on people's shopping lists. But he's committed to Gateshead. He's a captain now. As mentioned there before, he spoke really well at the talk in. Mickey, you got to speak to him before the talk, and so did I. Look, he's the mould of player that Allan Armstrong wants. He's down to earth and he's hardworking.
Well, he told me that he's worked with Allan before and he loves working with Allan. He's the captain.
Where's he worked? Maybe where's he worked with him before?
Middlesbrough.
When he was a youngin', I think, when he said he'd worked with him before. I watched that game at Hebburn last night, and he was him and Akinola were head and shoulders above some of the players on that park yesterday. And that's not being derogatory to anybody from Gateshead or Hebburn. You could just tell they had the actual quality from higher above. And I think Kenton could probably play League 2, League 1.
Without a doubt.
I just think he's an all-round good fella as well. I mean, you know what happened with my daughter. He was one of the lads that sent a message when Tony was poorly, and I'll never forget that. And he's just a genuine, down-to-earth guy, you know. And I love the lad a bit.
It is. It's It's. I mean, to say that I've spoken to him many times. You know, just as passing him and stuff. He's always got time for fans, and I couldn't be happier that he's been named captain in it to shot in the arm, because obviously, there was times in the summer when everyone thought, oh, are we going to lose all our players? All the negativity was going around. It was hard not to feed off it at times because it was there. But, we're on the backside of that now, hopefully, and when everyone can push in the right direction. We've got, let's have a little look here. All big clubs have more debt than the Heat and still manage to make poor signings. That doesn't improve their team. Yeah, it'll happen. Not all of them. Not every signing's guaranteed, is it? Sadly. Evening, lads. I really should have an early night, as I have to be at Lord's at 7 a.m. But some things are more important than Test cricket. We're still waiting for the invite to do it live from Lord's. We'll all come down for that one. Mark, are you up for that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of my bucket list things.
I'd like to know if Neil is still going to be able to get like Nasser, because I'm sure one commentary told us Nasser Hussain was listening in with him in the long room at Lord's, I believe. I might be wrong, but hopefully he can. Yep.
Mark, I don't know about you, Steely. Sorry, just going to cut in there. It's a cricket theme there. If we're going to get invited anywhere, can we go to the MCG on Boxing Day?
The thing is there's only 3 cricket fans in this, because Davey, I don't think you're a big cricket fan, are you, mate?
No, it's Mark.
You know what the MCG is?
Melbourne Cricket Club, isn't it? Yes, Melbourne Cricket Club.
Yeah.
I know bits. I just don't know. Look, I know that the West Indians aren't famed for the spin bowlers. That's great. And the quicker we move on. Hebburn doesn't tell us too much. Let's say 2 sats. I think Sunderland X will be a better benchmark. It will, but it was the aptitude of the players and the way they applied themselves. There was look. I know Mickey mentioned there Akinola and Kenton looked on it early doors. There wasn't a player blowing out the backside on that pitch. They've come back fit from pre-season. And I think you've got to look at what the manager was asking and what he said in his interview after as well. The players did what he asked and they didn't give up.
I don't want to sound really boring here, but I'm going to fail massively. But the benchmark is Southend day 1 of the season, because we know what happened last time Gateshead played Southend. It was, one of the most lifeless 90 minutes I've seen from a Gateshead team in a long time. And an improvement on that is needed day 1 of the season, no matter what goes on between now and and day one. So I think that's the benchmark. I think someone else has just messaged there, and someone I want to point out and is Callum Bowen, who I thought was excellent last night in that sort of number 10 position, playing in midfield, dropped in when he needed to.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of enthusiasm about him within the club, and he's someone I thought used the ball really well. Didn't get scared of the physical stuff either. There was.
I was going to say both him and Ollie Thompson were the on the end of a couple of should we say stiff ones, for want of a better word. But that's pre-season. Everyone's trying to get up the marks, but the thing is, Gator were moving the ball very well and especially in the first half, making Hebburn chase shadows sometimes. So them tackles are inevitably going to come in when they're trying to win the ball back.
But when you look at the lads last night, so the three that I mentioned then, Thompson, Bowen, Lowry, and we shouldn't forget Connor Panney as well, who is still an academy graduate. I mean, to have four lads, and I know there was more came on in the second half, but four playing prominent roles. You go back to the sort of Elliot Forbes and John Mellish's and Tom White's of this world. That's what. So I think I should go back and clarify what Allan said, because there was a little bit of a lot of discussion about this when he said we need to get back to being that Northeast club or that sort of thing. He wasn't saying that they were going to fill the first team with academy players who clearly aren't ready for National League football. He was saying we need to get back to where we look within the Northeast, instead of going all the way down south to bring a player up when there's probably someone local who can do the same job. That's what he meant. And
I think the last 18 months we fell into a trap of thinking we need to bring a player in instead of looking within. And I think we've all probably said the likes of Ollie Thompson, Connor Panney probably could have been given a chance. But now I think that is going to be the prominent thing, isn't it? They're going to say, well, we've got them here, they're under contract, let's give them a chance instead of going for another 23 from Dob,
But it's not even just that, though. It's so you look at the success stories in recent years. Kenton's a great example. Got released by Sunderland, came in. Owen Bailey got released by Newcastle, came in, kicked on. So this is what Alan's talking about, of looking at lads that maybe need a chance after being released, or who can come through the academy and get a chance there. So that's what he meant by we need to start looking towards a local side again. I'm not going to say if a player from the Midlands comes available who they think can improve them and is affordable, they'll do it. But first and foremost, I think they need to be Gator are strongest when they've got a local core. And look at the team that won the National League North. How many non-Northeast players were in that side? Not many.
And where are they now? That's the thing.
I can hold the picture up if you want to see it.
If your hands helps you put the camera. What's that? Someone's put, why have I got a crown next to my name? I think it's probably because you're a top contributor on the chat. That's where it is. Trina's put, I think Allan needs to be given a chance. New season, fresh start, and I think it is going to be a fresh start. I can't remember who said this to us, so I don't know who to credit. I don't know if it was one of you lads I spoke to, and someone said that we tried to keep things the same after they were successful, and we ended up diluting it somewhat down the line a little bit. Obviously, what we did under Mike and then again under Rob was fantastic, but then we did kind of move a little bit away under Rob towards the back end and then into Carl, because we tried to stay within and keep the same ethos, but we went away from that with the sheer amount of players that we brought in, not just because we're outside the region. We lost that core, and you could see that at the back end of last season. The players just, half of them didn't know each other. A lot of them weren't even trained and hadn't even trained together because some were injured or whatever. So we found ourselves with probably what Allan was alluding to, a lost identity. Now it's going to be a tighter core. I think we've seen the rosebuds of that a little bit last night. There was a lot of unity. There's a lot of talk and a lot of communication. If there was a missed ball, it was head up. They were all telling each other to keep going. It wasn't a case of what you've done there. I know it's only this Hebburn, it's only the first game, but Allan's trying to implement something, and you can see it. You can see it straight away.
Definitely. I mean, I come away from the Hebburn game last night now, and I'd said, I think it was Trina or Hebby, I turned around and I says, not only the first team, when they brought the second team on in the second half, they were just as impressive. I thought Carter Milmore was a good player. I thought he played really well alongside
Graham Grayson.
Kenton Richardson. It was and Lucas Lowry, Ollie Thompson, Connor Panny. The lad, I'm guessing Chad Bourne or whatever he was called was the number 21. I was really impressed with him as well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of the youngins I was really, really impressed with. And I come away thinking, you know what it is? There's still things to be done at the club. I know that we're going back to our old ground with structure at the club and things like that. But there was shoots of recovery yesterday. And that's what's given us more hope than anything.
Well, it is, but we might be seeing something completely different on Saturday. We've got a guest coming on. I forgot to mention we've got a guest. We've got Ben from A Love Supreme going to join us. But in the Kay household, of course, I think there's 4 Gateshead fans or 3 Gateshead fans. Mrs. Kay just put up the Mackhams, and I think it's a perfect time to bring in our guest, Ben. He's in the background here. We'll bring him in now. Hello there, Ben. How are you doing?
Hiya, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, well, fantastic. Football's back. There's not much to be complaining about. As I say, it's become a regular fixture now on Saturday. I know it's split between the two sides, but we've always had a decent squad turn up from Sunderland. Are you expecting the better players to go to the Gateshead, or is it just going to be a complete mix 50-50?
I think probably looking at a mixed sort of 50-50, but usually what happens is we normally have sort of the stronger players play the first half and then academy players come on in the second at both games. I'm not sure because the other two years it's been the other way around. We've been to Shields first and then we've come to Gateshead. So yeah, I think probably they'll split the stronger players. Half of them will play one half against Shields, the other half will play one half against Gateshead, and then you'll see some more academy lads come on in the second half.
No, fantastic. Do you know? I think I've seen there was over 2,000 tickets sold so far for Saturday. So hopefully it'll be a good game. I mean, you probably heard a little bit there when you were in the background. We're talking about how we've had a good game against Hebburn, but it's a completely different task against yourselves on Saturday. Has Sunderland already played yet, or will it be their first game on Saturday?
No, this will be our first game. I think last Friday was when they came back for pre-season training, so they've not been back in the swing of things for very long. Some of our players aren't back yet. New signings wise aren't back yet because they've been at the Club World Cup or they've been playing other games, something of that ilk. So I think the likes of Diarra and Ronaldo, who we've just signed, won't be there. So yeah, this is very much like first run out.
All of our players have been at the World Club Cup as well. It's
I know we were in the pub watching it. There's a difference.
It was the World Club Cup.
You've just signed a winger today, haven't you? A speedy winger. He's Moroccan, is that right?
Yes, Talby. I've not watched him. I don't watch much Belgian football or any for that matter. But we interviewed a Belgian guy who's a Club Brugge fan. He seems quite confident about him. Obviously he's only 20, so bit inexperienced. He's never played in England before, but he looks quite good. He just he scored a brace in the Champions League. I think it was last season. So there's reasons to be optimistic about him. Definitely.
Yeah. Good luck with him.
Mark was telling us before that he's obviously going to be covering Sunderland a little bit more now.
Just in pre-season.
Oh, just in pre-season. Oh, well, but in previous years, Mark, we've seen the Sunderland side come to the International Stadium. We've had the likes of Bellingham, who everyone was looking at, and I think it's one of those things. Because that's why I asked the question to Ben about was it the first game, because sometimes they can just be getting into the swing of things, and I'm not going to say it's a false positive from Gateshead, but sometimes we've looked better for about 45-60 minutes, and then when Sunderland's needed to, they've changed the gear and got into the game. It's probably a good warm-up for them, because obviously we are levels below, we've got to be honest, but I think Sunderland will get a lot out of the game as well.
Well, I was talking to Ian Watson, the South Shields manager, obviously former Gateshead assistant manager, for a piece, and he said he thinks the games will be perfect for both sides, well, for all sides really, but obviously he was talking about South Shields because from a fitness point of view, Sunderland will get a good workout. We know how Gateshead will play. We know how South Shields will play because we've seen it when Ian was assistant manager at the club. And the two non-league clubs will get a good workout because you'd imagine no matter what side Sunderland put out at either, they'll sort of dominate possession to an extent. So it's going to work for everyone again. And I know I keep repeating myself, but it's not really about the result. It's about all three clubs getting what they need out of it, and all three managers coming away from the games feeling better about where they're at in terms of preparations for day one of the National League or Premier League season.
And also as well the financial aspect, to get a home game in pre-season against one of the the big boys in the northeast and getting a 2,000 plus crowd. I mean, it was said at the talk-in that we need to have 2,000 plus crowds to break even and be able to push the club on somewhat. So to start pre-season with a crowd like that is, it's a real shot in the arm. And Ben, I know you see on social media, and it's an easy thing to say. People will see Gateshead and say, "Oh, be a load of Newcastle fans there and stuff." Is that how you see Gateshead from a Sunderland perspective, the fans, not yourself, but do a lot of fans see us as like, oh, Newcastle's second team, so to speak?
I think there's definitely some of our fans who view you that way. It's definitely viewed as sort of like Geordie land.
Yeah.
But I have known Sunderland fans to go to Gateshead games and support Gateshead. So I wouldn't say it's not like South Shields, where South Shields it's kind of accepted that it's 50-50. I think it's definitely Gateshead's definitely viewed as Newcastle's sort of, it's not like it's definitely viewed as sort of Newcastle's area where like the majority of people from Gateshead will support Newcastle.
Yeah. Tell us about the swine.
There definitely are Sunderland fans from Gateshead, and there definitely are Sunderland fans who go to your games. So it's not like 100% Newcastle, but yeah, it's definitely viewed that way by some of our fans. Like me personally, I don't really view it that way. I kind of view it as your Gateshead. So we're playing Gateshead on Saturday, not Newcastle.
It's understandable because we've got the gripe because, as I say, every time Newcastle get to a final, they'll drape the Angel of the North in a Newcastle shirt, and you're like, it's on our badge, man, for God's sake.
We're not happy about that either because there's a statue of Jill Scott right next to it. So
yeah, she did break it, so we can share her. Which is probably a sentence I've never thought I would say on the podcast.
Look forward to the solicitors contacting you in the morning.
All right, yeah. That was the views of Mickey Barris, not me. But as I say, are you making the trip along on Saturday, Ben, or are you going to South Shields? Or are you taking?
I'm going to both of them. So yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
a
decent.
Hopefully it doesn't rain this year because I remember the last two seasons it's rained. I've checked the weather forecast and it says it isn't going to rain, but it said that the last 2 years and then it rained. So I'm just hoping it doesn't rain this time.
You didn't cross the equator, when you come past Brockley Winds. Wow,
it is.
But no, man.
It has looked down. No, I mean, sorry to mention Newcastle, but there was a Newcastle game, and we thought the game was going to be abandoned at half time in a pre-season friendly against them a couple of years ago. It was torrential. It's for summer. It's nothing's guaranteed. But I'd say, do you follow Gateshead with a side eye, so to speak? Because obviously I know you're through and through Sunderland, but do you keep an eye on the goings on at Gateshead? There has been.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at the National League scores, I usually look for Gateshead's results. I noticed that you were in the playoffs in the majority of last season. I was kind of hoping you'd get promoted because not only is it's good for us because if we can loan players to Gateshead in League Two, it's a different sort of. Yeah. It's a different environment for them, a better environment for them than loaning players to the National League. And also, I felt like there was a bit of injustice there with what happened with your stadium and the council. Oh. So I was kind of hoping you would go up.
Yeah, we're trying to stay positive on that note, but but the players like Lyndon Gooch, I mean, probably the prime example. He came to us. He was looked a young, I'd say, just not much on him. He looked a very lightweight lad, and he knuckled down when he was here. Scored a couple of goals, and then the next season he was in the first team at Sunderland, and and that's what you hope can work. And it's even better if it's Northeast lads. I know he's an adopted Northeasterner from America, but he was here for that long. But if we can, the young players from any of the big three coming through and then going into the first team, it works for everybody, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the last few seasons we seem to be loaning loads of players out, the likes of South Shields and Darlington, and there was Blythe Spartans. Not last season, but the season before last. I've always wondered why we aren't sending any players to Gateshead. As far as I can remember, anyway, we haven't sent anyone to you in a while. I don't understand why that is, but it would make sense to, in my opinion.
Can I just say the players that you sent to Blythe Spartans did a great job. They really helped in that relegation.
I knew that was coming. Dear me, baby. Dear me.
No.
George Honeyman as well. George Honeyman was a good player when he was here.
Yeah,
yeah.
Where's he at the moment? Is he at Hull?
I think he's in Millwall now. I'm not sure if he left. I'm not sure if he's just left or something. But I think he was there last season.
Yeah, Millwall. Yeah. But no, fantastic. But as I say, myself and Mark are doing a commentary on Saturday. So if you could share that on social media, it'd be great for anyone that can.
Yeah. Just tag us in it. We'll
do that.
Just tag us on Twitter. We'll retweet it.
Oh, amazing. Ben, thank you for joining us. And as I say, enjoy the game on Saturday. Let's hope it doesn't rain.
Hopefully,
and we'll have a decent game of football. But thank you for your time, for coming on, and good luck.
No problem. Keep up the fanzine as well, Ben. Good fanzine, mate.
Oh, thank you. Right, well, thanks for having us on.
Cheers, thank you.
Take care, bud.
Thank you.
There we go, Ben. Fantastic to have him on from Love Supreme. And just having a look around, we've got other things that we still haven't mentioned yet going through. Of course, there was the strips of, well, I mentioned this, but obviously there was the official club shoot that come out there. Look, there he is.
Joey Boswell.
Yeah, Joey Boswell.
Boswell.
And there we go. There's a close-up one. Beautiful picture there taken of Ferguson. And the strips look fantastic. And I'll put the one up with the hand sent earlier on. Don't look at his feet, but the strip, you can see they fit nicely because that was Mickey's big concern. But they look absolutely fantastic. And of course,
they look good. The way shirt looks nice, doesn't it?
It does. And other news, it isn't the Vanarama National League you may have seen over the summer. That license ended, and it is now the Enterprise National League. So it makes no difference apart from a different badge, really, but it keeps the league sponsored and keep going. So that's another little bit of news that's happened in the last couple of weeks. Also, as well, we do have the night at the Schooner coming up. We've got a little bit of news. This is the raffle prizes we've got so far. We've got a £100 gift voucher from Hope and Glory, a slow cooker. We've got a £50 Sapori voucher, the Italian restaurant Gateshead High Street. We've got a hamper. We've got a podcast mug and pin. There's also going to be some bottles donated by Trevor Clark, who I was speaking to last night. There's something to come from the club, and there's stuff to come from the Fog on the Tyne as well. And of course, they've got the old badge there because that banner was made before. It's been renamed the Gateshead Supporters Society, not the Gateshead Soul and the Gateshead Foundation. And it'll be a 50-50 split between the two because they both do fantastic things. And next week, I can give you all an exclusive. We're going to have two people on from the foundation next week talking all about what they've got planned for the summer and the season coming, because they do some fantastic things in the winter. They've got warm, safe spaces, breakfast clubs. There's things for kids, trips, coaching courses. There is so much more, and we're going to get into that and give them the props that they deserve. Right. Also, as well, you may have already bought your pin badge, but they are £3 each. I've got them here if you want to support the podcast. Help us get one or two more new wires and microphones. But there is I'll see if I can get it better. I should have manicured my nails, but there is the Heed Army pin badge. There we go. There, £3 each. Nice. There we go. And the Heed Army mug, it has arrived. There we go. So it's got stadium in the background. Obviously, sponsor Northern Print Solution and our partners at Hope and Glory. They're £7, and we'll do you a deal. You can have both for a tenner. So there we go.
Dave,
all right, Tailbone.
Dave, I thought you were the Heed Army mug.
Did you see yesterday's news, by the way? Obviously, the National League Cup. I know it divides opinion, but it's back.
It
Do you
is.
see the news? Do you see the news? I didn't want to pick on other clubs, but because good on them. But Carlisle United aren't playing in it this year,
Well,
and I thought it's a good move by them. Obviously.
Well, I'll put the fixtures up because obviously we haven't really spoke about that. But the National League Cup starts in the first week of the season this year.
Wow.
They're getting it out the way straight away. So Gateshead will be at home. We don't know who against. Of course, it'll be a northern section. So you're expecting the Newcastle under-21, Sunderland 21s, Leeds, maybe Middlesbrough. I don't know if there's any others going to be involved this year. So that is going to be there. But we start off at home to Southend, as we mentioned before. But the National League Cup, as mentioned at the talk-in, if you weren't there, is a value. Sadly, but on a positive spin, is a very valuable competition, prize-wise. Yes, I know there's a lot of people that have boycotted it. There's a lot of clubs got behind it. I think geographically, wherever you are, I know.
Still not going to go.
I know you're not going to go, but like, I don't think it was advertised that great last year because I don't think anyone was that enthused about it. The likes of Altrincham, obviously they have close links with Manchester United. I think they play there, so they sold that out. So they got a bumper payday. They got the prize money and the big gate. And I would imagine Manchester United probably gave them all the gate. So, it does work out for certain sections of the country. Would it have been better to have been nationalised? I don't know. Like, to the chance to have Manchester United at home, but would we have got the same influx of fans? I don't think we would. So it's got its positives, but mainly negatives in my eyes. But the only positive I can see is that the home games and that there's decent prize money.
Why can't we go and play at St James's Park in the Stadium of Light? It'd be awesome.
It would,
anyway.
But,
For 100 odd people, I doubt it.
I know. I tell you what, the prize money for the winner was a lot of money. It was more than the trophy. It was a lot of money.
I think I actually think if you get out the group stage, it's more money than winning the trophy.
Yeah, I thought it was big money. Yeah.
It's good money. I might be wrong there. Mark's questioning that. I don't know if I just seen his face. I don't know if I'm wrong.
I was reading a text, Dave. I didn't even hear what you said. I've got to be honest. Sorry.
Just going into the actual fixtures here, we've got the eye-catching ones. Of course, Carlisle United on Boxing Day at home.
That's in.
A fantastic one. 1 second.
Yeah, big crowd potentially on Boxing Day for that one.
Start the season at Southend. We celebrate promotion at Altrincham in April the 25th. I'm joking, everybody. I'm not getting well away from yourself. Then you look, some of the teams that catch the eye. Hartlepool on the 23rd of September on a Tuesday at home. It's a bit of a disappointing that they've done that.
A bit random, innit? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you've obviously got the guaranteed 0-0 draw as well with Halifax. That'd be a smashing one. Of course, former Gateshead striker Will Harris has just signed there as well. Bit of a strange one. That I wasn't expecting that one, but he scored some goals last year. And then just having a look about, you got Forest Green at home on February the 28th, Truro at home on the 25th, and I think, do we get them out the way earlier, their away game?
21st of February.
21st of February. Oh, wow.
Good Friday. Good Friday away to Carlisle.
There it is.
That's a canny one.
Sorry, boys, I've got to stop you just there because my daughter's friends are watching and they want to know that she's here. 1 second. Come on, quickly. Right there.
Hey, there she is.
Go away. Right, now I can stop pestering us in the side of there. Sorry, Mark, what were you about to say there?
It wasn't me. It was Steely.
I think it was the same. Yeah, a good one. And no January the 1st fixture. No New Year's Day, which is traditional, I think, for sort of non-league, particularly non-league teams.
It is. But that means I can have a proper New Year's Eve celebration now. Keep yourself right. But yeah, I mean, the fixture I was looking at the most, and I hope it happens because I've got a feeling it might not. Morecambe. Morecambe away on Tuesday. That's on Tuesday, September 30th. Now,
there's been a deal agreed, though, hasn't there?
Has there been a deal agreed? I hadn't seen that, so that was the one I was worried about, thinking that fixture might not take place because I haven't been to Morecambe, and I'd like to do that one. So
what's the deal? Sorry, have I missed something?
So I'm just going to take over. Getting the statement. So it's not the the group that were trying to buy the club. It's a last-minute bidder from a UK buyer who learnt about the club's situation. That buyer's worked over the last 24 hours to turn around a payment to his solicitors for wages to be agreed, to be paid, and agreed contracts pending approval of the National League. So I'm going to deal with this with a large dose of salt. And the fact that the group that were trying to buy the club have been working so hard to get it done, and by all accounts have got everything sorted their end. The fact that someone's come in with a last minute bid smacks of something not quite as it should be. But I hope I'm proven wrong.
I will say that Nathan notices, does anyone know why we have lots of Wednesday matches whilst the National League North have Tuesday? Is it an attempt to sell more weekly, monthly passes for DAZN? Haven't a clue. I don't even know if they're still got the license for this year. I haven't seen anything about that, or if it was a 2-year one. We'll just have to see.
Traditionally, many years ago, like decades ago, we used to play on Wednesday nights. That was our nights to play at home, and then obviously, we fell in line with the league, and we went to Tuesday nights. But
just going back to a couple of messages that we missed when we were talking about Alton. Apparently, Alton refused to take part this year, so obviously it wasn't as beneficial as maybe they thought. But then again, they did miss out on the playoffs, and they might have thought that took a from it. So we're looking at all of it. Captain Curtin Spock will be appearing soon when Scotty finds the button to the energies.
Energize, I think is meant to say.
Yeah. We've got what else we've got there. My home shirt is on its way. Fantastic stuff. Steely's has arrived, but at his house on the island. So
not here.
The embroidered badge looks good. Yeah, it really does. We've got here. Oh, 1 second. We've got a message back. Did we get one back from him? There's some here we've missed. We've got when my elderly brother grew up in Lobley Hill and Gateshead, very much 50-50 between Sunderland and Newcastle. Still is. It's quite.
Still is. Yeah.
It's just because the people that are the ones that are prone to comment are the ones that are nearly always negative, isn't it? The ones that have got a gripe, they've got something to say. And apparently it's supposed to be 25 degrees there. We've got Steve Farnfield is trying to cause havoc here. He said with Mark covering Sunderland, does that mean Jeff Bowren's back? We've got
you can ban people, you can ban people.
You can ban people, but he's got a crown now. He's one of our top contributors. Patrick Story, congratulations to Mike Williamson on joining the coaching role at Rangers. Crazy couple of years he's had.
Wow, I didn't see that news.
Yeah, first team coach at Rangers.
That's big for him. Well done to him. That's big.
It's going to be a melting pot up there on Derby days, isn't it?
If you thought MK Dons was bad, woo.
They're very vocal up there, I believe.
Just a little bit.
Lads, good win over Hebburn to start pre-season. Good to get the first home game for the start of the season. It really is good. Going through some couple more messages that I think I've missed. We've got one here. Hello, lads. I was late to the game last night as I was stuck in traffic. However, I got a chance to get the Heed Army. Sorry, I never got my chance to get a Heed Army podcast mug. Hey, you'd think I'd paid for this advertisement. Will they be available on Saturday? They will. Come to the commentary desk and you can get one. There you go. So bring the right money. Bring the right money because I don't have a till. £7 or £3 for your badge. £10 for both and make it a lot easier for everybody. Right. As I say, I might have Mark not on the mic, just running a little stall next to us.
So Davey, if you're Del Boy, does that make Mark Rodney?
No, I think it makes Mark just the brains behind the operation. I'm the idiot.
I can't argue with that, can you, Mark?
The worrying thing is, Steely, that makes you Trigger.
And being the oldest, that probably makes me Grandad. That's a bad thing.
Talking about our Trigger, he had an important engagement last week. He was on stage giving a talk, and there he is describing a big pair of I don't know what it was. But,
photoshopped. That looks photoshopped as well. That's hilarious.
But the one thing, you haven't got your pin badge yet, but you could have had that shirt on that you've got on now. You could have been representing.
I know. I'm sick of that.
I know. But I was in London with 900 people, and I think they expect us to be half decent. So I should have worn it. Really.
Well, it doesn't look like it.
Well, the Photoshop is there. I'm sure they've added a bit of suntan to that.
Is it available to view online, your talk, or not?
What, sorry?
Is your talk available to watch online?
No, it was on Radio 3 2
Oh,
nights
Radio
ago.
3.
Radio
Ah.
3, yeah.
God,
Yes.
someone's got ideas above the station, haven't you?
I did wonder if it was coming with subtitles. I was thinking, God, most people on Radio 3 probably haven't a clue what I'm saying. But anyway.
One thing we haven't mentioned just yet as well is Doncaster Rovers on Tuesday, the Owen Bailey derby.
Owen Bailey.
We'd lovely to see him come back. Look, he's left
Top
and
lad.
he's done outstanding. He's captain now. He's playing in League One. Big club, big club. I think Doncaster, they've been playing well below the station, really.
Nice stadium as well. Big fan base. You know, they've got everything made there for them.
It'd be lovely to see the Bailey family as well, his brothers, his mum and dad, everyone else that used to come along and say hello to us on the podcast, and everyone in the stand. I've got a lot of time. Nearly all the families that we meet, the players are fantastic. I mean, me and Mickey's absolutely over the moon. We've still got Kane at home because his dad looks like the helicopter pilot from Magnum PI.
TC.
No, it'll be a lovely occasion. Hopefully, Doncaster bring up a few fans and make a bit of a, and it'll be a good test. I think it'll be I'm not going to say it'll be a better test than Sunderland, but I think it'll be a better gauge. Just, because you can, a team that were above us in the season above league above last season. So
we've still got a few local northeast lads now, like Luke Molyneux and Jamie Sterry. I think they're still there, aren't they? So
I think there's one more there as well, another northeast lad.
Luke Molyneux he had a great season last season for them as well. Obviously played for us, didn't he?
Didn't he on loan? I think I might be wrong. I'm sure he got team of the year, Luke Molyneux.
Surprised me. Scored a lot of goals as well from midfield for them last season.
Yeah,
I liked him when he was on loan to Gateshead, I must admit.
I know.
Class.
Really good. We've got a few messages here. There's one here about what's your thoughts on Robbie Savage going to Forest Green as manager? I'll tell you one thing I did notice.
Money.
It is, but he took 3 players with him within 24 hours.
Did
now,
he?
Yeah, from what I call it. And
did he take Elliot?
No, didn't take Elliot. But my thought is, what unrest is that going to do at the dressing room that he's brought his 3 favourites in? That's the way I would look at it, and how I'm looking at it from the outside. Maybe I'm just being uber negative on it, but I think that's going to be a dynamic, but that'll be interesting in pre-season.
Yeah, absolutely. Be interesting to see what it has impacts on his media work as well, because he's obviously contracted with BBC. I mean, he might be freelance. I don't know how he works, but anyway.
We've got to hopefully go back on TNT. I don't know about the TV deal. We've got I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Certain Whittingham is on the board of the new buyers. As that must be for the Morecambe.
Yeah.
I've just been looking for my suitable GIF for my reaction to Robbie Savage going in a Forest Green.
Good one. Yeah.
Someone's asked a question. Is Louis Story still at Darlow? I don't obviously not know.
I think his contract came to an end. I think it might have even been a non-contract deal. I was told, I can't remember who told me this, but that there was interest from outside of the region for Louis. In I don't know if it's a player coach role or, but I mean, he was someone I think would have been ideal for maybe number 2 for Allan as a player assistant manager. But I think there is interest from away from the northeast. So
good luck.
There's a ban hanging over his head.
Yeah, as I say, that hasn't happened yet, has it? We've got. Well, apparently Nathan said Louis is still based in the south at the moment, so that might tie in with some of the rumours that we've heard there. Yeah. Surprised Elliot didn't take Savage with him. We'll miss you, Mr. John Ollie. Yes, we'll see John Ollie. I haven't got it lined up to do it, but I'm sure he'll drop in from time to time. So it's but hey, we've got through that one. It flew by that show. It's been fantastic. Remember, if you can't make it to either game coming up this week, if you're still at work or the kids are still at school and you can't take them, it is going to be live with us on the Heat Army podcast. I'll have the pleasure of having Mark with me, of course, on commentary. And you can come to the commentary desk and get your up your badge and mug, and I kind of get the badge out the mug. So there you go. If you do buy one, you'll not lose it when you're at the game. £7. Fund the podcast. Right, lads, thank you very much. It's been an enjoyable one. Lots.
Good, yeah.
I'm sure we've probably missed something, but we'll be able to cover it in the games coming. Shows coming. Of course, we have got the show next week, where we have the Gateshead FC Foundation join us, and we'll be talking about all other Gateshead related things. And then, of course, on the 24th, we are live from the Fog on the Tyne. We want you to come and join us. And on after Blind Tigers, they're playing after the show. So come along, stay, have a drink. Kids are on holiday then as well, 6 weeks. So hopefully you can stay and we can raise a bit of money for the raffle tickets for the Gateshead Supporters Society and for the Gateshead FC Foundation. So please come along. We'll have a great time. I believe there's going to be a cake there as well. So there's going to, and the people at the Fog on the Tyne are doing a menu as well. So there'll be lovely food if you want to come down and partake. So
I'll put in my apologies early because I'll be about 8 Jack Daniels in Albufera that night. So
I know you beat us to it. So I was going to say, and
You
Mark,
dammy twat.
I was going to say, Mark has generously cancelled his holiday and donated the money to the.
Tell you what, you try
A well-deserved holiday, by the way, Mark.
I know.
you try and persuade the missus to let us do that.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'd be. Oh, sorry. Before we go, a massive happy birthday to Ruth yesterday. It was her fifth birthday. Hard to believe she's 25. So, Mickey, you've already sang to her, haven't you?
Yeah, I sang it yesterday.
Already sang. So, thank you once again, everyone. Hit that like and subscribe. Remember, 24th of July at the Fog on the Tyne, and hit that subscribe button, and you'll see when we're live on Saturday and Tuesday, and then next Thursday with the next show. So, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.